All right, Yote fans, thanks for tuning in to Week 10 of the Steel Show. Huge win for the C of I Yotes out in LeGrand, Oregon. Where I want to start with you, Coach, is first conference title in program history. Talk about what that means to you, building this program up from ground zero, and just what that means to the program.
To be honest, it'll be easier to talk about after the season's over.
Yep.
We're still right in the middle of things,
Yeah.
and it's so exciting, and it's, but I can say this for sure, and you as an alum know, and I'm so proud of all the alums, that were here with me, whether it was the coaches, the players, when we started in 2014, and all the guys that came along. It's just, I couldn't be happier for them. Because when I took the job, I felt like there was a great opportunity here, a great institution. Knew it was going to be tough sledding, and it was. I mean, we took it on the chin a few times, but I'm so proud of those teams, those early teams, the guys, their toughness, the Yote steel, to hang through the lean times, the tough times. So this is absolutely fantastic.
Yep.
I mean, it's unbelievable, and I hope, my sincere hope is that all the alums, all those, even the older alums who've looked forward to this day, the Buzz Bonaminios and company, are happy and satisfied, because it's a huge deal. It took a lot of people. It took a lot of vision. It took a lot of work. The proverbial blood, sweat, and tears, but that's football. I would have it no other way. So, though the one thing that's funny, I look back on, and you'll remember this, is the two previous seasons when we were 1-4, and then last year 0-5. I think I kind of knew we had something special after coming back from those situations. It showed me that there's a certain mental and emotional toughness that. Is I'm not sure I strategically built that in the team. I guess that's a function of the staff and everything, and the nature of the players and recruiting, all those things mixed in, and there's so much that goes into it. But it's awesome. I couldn't be happier or more excited, and I think there's good days ahead.
Yeah, still a long way to go.
Yeah,
still a long way to go.
I think there's good, but even this season, I think there's good days ahead because of that toughness and all it took, and where we are, and I think the future is really bright. Hopefully the near future is really bright too.
Absolutely. So moving on to the Eastern game, obviously it was hard fought, no surprise, it's a rivalry. Eastern came out with their hair on fire and really played well, especially in the first half. So a little bit of a sluggish start for us. Talk about that first half and maybe what gave you guys a little bit of issues.
Yeah, sluggish starts are interesting. You wonder, is it just that they're playing good, or things didn't roll our way, or whatever it is. But I tend to think it's just a combination of all those things. Darius missed a couple passes. Our Garrett Rayberg got beat for a sack early in the game, and he's been playing terrific otherwise. I mean,
no, things are going to happen.
I mean, and so yeah, kind of just stuff happens, and you have to weather the storm. Again, I think it was a little more alarming to our guys, because it was just difficult to deal with, and frustrating, and they have high aspirations, and Eastern Oregon's the rival, and you want to play well, and we thought we were the better team, and you still got to go out and prove it. But anyway, it wasn't happening, so guys are frustrated, and not so much yelling and screaming, but passionately aware that we need to turn it around. But so we hung in there. I thought we played a really solid second quarter. They hit the one big play after we scored. So again, another punch in the gut, so to speak. But again, we drove it down, missed a field goal at the end of the half. But again, another good 2-minute drill. So we know what we're capable of doing. But I was so impressed at halftime. My message at halftime was simple. I'm not a big believer in motivational speeches. When I believe that if the team is of the right pitch and the right nature, they're going to respond the right way. The message was simple. Every single play matters, whether it's special teams. And I do want to say this about the special teams. We have been exceedingly solid on special teams, and not all our opponents have, and we've been taking it to them, and physical, and really done some nice things there. And but the opening drive, or 3 and out, get the ball. I think we threw one short pass and then 3 straight runs and scored a touchdown. Couldn't have started out better, but I think the team knew we were ready for that. Nick Calzaretta made some not just good runs, but great runs. The touchdown run was fantastic, and I think a signature of what it was going to be like the second half for Eastern Oregon, because Tyler Ray was blocking a guy through the end zone, and not in danger of holding, and Nick played it perfectly and got it in there. So that was the big play of the game, and that was awesome. And I think I knew at that time that we're a different team this half, and, and we're ready to overcome everything that had happened before and anything that might come in the second half, which you have to do. You have to be
you got
able to overcome those things. You really do. Because they're a good team. I mean, all these teams are good. We talk about all the time. Eastern Oregon's 2-5 now, 2-6, but
throw the records out the window in the French Conference.
They are good. They're a good team.
Absolutely. And one thing I do want you to comment on is Darius's toughness. Took some shots and slow to get up in some ways, but just kept responding. And in that second half, not only did he make big runs and throws, but he just displayed a lot of toughness, I thought, as a fan watching the game. So talk about what his the heart and spirit that he showed.
Yeah, he did, and I think earlier in his career it would have been the type game where he would have tried to do too much, and what I mean by that is he would have felt like he has to do even more. Maybe he has to run the ball more, or he has to make the big play, and maybe he forces it in there. He did that a little bit in his freshman and sophomore years. So I thought it was fantastic. The only thing I said to him at halftime was, you don't have to do too much.
Right.
You just have to do your job. You have to run the show, but you just have to do your job. And part of that means to Darius, don't take any unnecessary hits. So that's that physicality part, and that's and I know teams are shooting for him when they get a shot at him.
Of course,
they're going to give it their best and try to get him out of the game. So I thought he played a spectacular second half. I thought he was fantastic. And some of that is just managing and distributing. And by the way, I've told you this before, haven't you? A quarterback being called a game manager is the highest compliment you can ever give a guy. That's what the quarterback does. The great Sid Gilman said, what you do is you get the ball to guys that could do something with it. And Sid Gilman was maybe one of the most brilliant offensive minds, and pre-Bill Walsh and all that. But again, Darius was fantastic. And getting the ball to Hunter Juarez for a spectacular touchdown that put us ahead, it was just amazing.
Yes, sir. So, and then moving over to the defensive side of the ball, there was a number of kind of crazy stats that got thrown out about the Yotes defense this year, but one I wanted to touch on is the fact that they haven't given up a point in the third quarter since week 1 this year. They've been terrific, really, for the whole game, every week this year, really, but the second halves have just been phenomenal with the adjustments and the way they've come out in the second half, and really shut teams down and allowed you guys to build leads or come back like this last week. So talk about the performance of the defense this week and just this whole season in the second half.
Well, I think one of the things that excites me most as the head coach, and I let the defensive coaches coach. I don't meddle with the defense. I know what sound defense is and what I want it to look like, and try to encourage Coach Jewell and Coach Ko and Coach Yote and the rest of the coaches. They're doing a great job, but we just have depth. I think we've talked about that. So I'm interested in developing young players in depth, and a lot of young guys are doing some great things out there. And then we have a core group of guys, and I'll mention a couple: Zach White, Demetrius Tao, Landon Gamble, and Danny Garcia are playing lights out up front. They really are. And then Graham Carnahan and Forrest Rivers. So these are our starting front 6. Those guys are playing lights out, and it makes a difference. And that trickles down to their backups. They're playing well. And then in the back end, we're just a little bit faster than we've been. But we got some really, really young guys back there who are
playing with confidence and swagger.
It's great. It's fantastic. And we're nicked up and beat up, but since it's the mixture of depth and experience, those guys are playing great. And hats off to Coach Jewell. I think he's a fantastic coach, and he and Coach Ko kind of work together and put together the whole package each week, and they do some neat stuff that's very difficult for opposing teams to navigate through. So again, adjustments are everything, and I think we've adjusted extremely well at halftime on the defensive side.
And one thing I guess I'll comment on in the adjustments is I thought in the second half, even more than schematically, I thought we just had to come out and play with a little bit more of a chip on our shoulder and bring the energy a little bit more. And I saw that early. I thought just the energy of the kickoff team on the first kickoff and the energy on the sideline, you could see it and you could feel it as a fan, that there was just a little bit of a different mentality and attitude with the team. And sometimes that's all it takes in football. It's not always a scheme.
And you wonder why, and this is kind of what I was referring to, and you're kind of getting at, is why was there a lull in the first place? Isn't the first half just as important as the second half? And I said after the game, I think Eastern Oregon won the first half, but it doesn't matter. They don't count that. But there's lots of factors that go in. As a college student, guys are tired. It's a long season. There's just so many things. Maybe the road trip, whatever. Maybe we're a little feeling like Eastern's a game that we ought to win, so maybe that seeps in there a little bit. You're talking about
it's human error. It
18, 19, 20, 21-year-old guys, but it happens in the NFL too.
Yeah.
And I told the team today, it happened to the New England Patriots on Sunday Night Football. They seemed to have a lull and gave up 17 points, and they couldn't overcome. Usually they do, but they didn't. They didn't on Sunday night. But I love our team. We have some experience, a critical number of guys that absolutely love to play. I think I've said this a number of weeks in a row, but that makes me feel good as a coach because that is infectious. We got a big hit on the kickoff team. As you well know, that can turn it right there. But that plus a 3 and out and then moving right down, we knew we were in for a battle and a game and, got the mojo back. Yeah.
So anyway, great win by you guys. Obviously,
it's
hard
a
fought.
huge win.
Yes, sir.
A huge win, and it's not an easy thing to switch gears. If things are starting to not go so good. So I think that even began to turn a little bit in the second quarter. Even besides the one big play they made, I thought we started to turn up. So that was
and
impressive.
I told you before, any championship team or conference champ, it's not going to be roses all through the season. You're going to have to win games like Tech at home this last time that we played them, and this Eastern game where you got to respond and your back's against the wall just a little bit and you got to kind of fight back, and that's just the way it goes if you want to win a championship.
Exactly, and there's nothing quite like it. I mean that's competitive sports and why it's character building, because you wish it would go easy, but man, it's when you have to dig down deep and grit it out. It's that's really meaningful stuff. I don't think those guys will ever forget that Eastern Oregon game. I really don't.
All right, Yote fans, sitting down here with redshirt sophomore receiver Hunter Juarez. Want to highlight this guy just because he's had such a big season. But first, I want to ask you: you started your career at UNR, transferred over here to C of I last year as a redshirt freshman, had a big year. Then obviously on a huge year this year. So, what has it meant to be a Yote, and what's your experience been so far here?
It's been great to be a Yote. Coming in, I knew Darius and Nick and Broch Funk a little bit, but other than that, I was new to Idaho, didn't know anybody else on the team, and right away, I felt this connection with everybody on the team. Like, I can honestly say there's one person on the team that I don't like. I'm boys with everyone on the team. We all love each other. We all know our roles on the team, and that's just great. That's just like, we know what we're going to do, and we know what we want to do, and that's win a national championship. And that's something you don't see at every program, Even in high school, there was a lot of guys I didn't like on the team, or there's some people you don't get along with, but here it's just like everybody's part of the group.
Absolutely. And, you individually, like I said, you're working on a huge season, one of the biggest, statistical seasons as a receiver for C of I history. What do you attest that to, whether that's, preseason or Coach Taylor, whatever? What do you attest that to?
Oh, man. I guess a lot of things. Like, Coach Taylor, first of all, got to give a shout out to him. He's made me 10 times a better receiver than I ever was. Coming out of high school, just a fast guy who ran posts. I mean, still kind of am that guy, but I've learned how to run routes. I've really, learned the art of route running, basically. Learning how to set guys up, how to take away leverages, how to use leverages, top guns, all that stuff. And that was something I didn't really know even last year. I was making all these deep balls, but now that I'm contributing in the short pass game as well, more complete, making way more receptions. It's just off-season work, training with guys like Tanner Donaldson, Connor Richardson, Coach Taylor. It's just made me a lot better receiver.
Absolutely, yeah, that's great. And I played for Coach Taylor, and I felt the same way. He's a great technical coach. But lastly, I've asked a couple guys this, and I like to hear about what you guys say. Is what's the legacy that you want the 2019 team to be remembered as when Yote fans or yourselves as players think back on this season? There's obviously a lot of ball left, but what do you want people to remember you guys as?
I think we have the ability to be the best team in recent history. I mean, within the past 7 years or 6 years that we've been a part of the program, and even before that, when they had a football team before that, we want to be national champions. That's like our goal. Our goal is to be national champions. We have the Frontier Conference in our sights, and that's something we're going to take down, but we want to get in the playoffs. We want to win those games. We want to make it to Louisiana. Absolutely.
I love it. Well, thanks, Yotes fans, for tuning in here with Hunter Juarez. Keep looking out for him to make plays, especially this weekend at Simplot Stadium, but thanks for your time, man.
Thanks, bro.
Fans, sitting here with Graham Carnahan, linebacker for the Yotes. First I'll ask you transferred here from William Penn University, another NAIA school in the Midwest. So, what's been your experience as a Yote for the last couple of years here?
It's been great. Overall, I enjoy it here. I enjoy it here as far as football from a standpoint and academics and just the people overall. I've been greeted, welcome with open arms, so to say. The transition was very smooth, even from my previous school, there was really no bad blood,
Yep.
I still, even when we played Rocky Mountain, there was a coach that actually transferred from William Penn to Rocky Mountain, and we're still on good terms, and even coming here, I can't say anymore, it's just been really fortunate.
Good, absolutely. And so, defense has been playing great all year, man. I mean, you guys have been, strong from start to finish. So talk a little about when you attest that strong defensive performances too.
Really is the off season. We came here early on this summer. I think we had a camp in June, and then we had a camp in July. And really coming here early and starting with the foundations and the fundamentals from the schematics from the defense and even just the pure strength and conditioning. Like, I heard Hunter say, big shout out to Bateman, Coach Taylor. Or that was his receivers coach, but even our strength and conditioning coach, Bateman, he's been surreal. He's been helping us out as far as preventing injuries and keeping us on the field as the most efficient as we can. But I would attest that to the offseason as well as our coaches. Our coaching staff they're here right now working on game film, getting ready for this next week.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then lastly, I've been asking every guy this, and it's really my favorite question, but what do you want the 2019 Yotes to be remembered as, whether it's, you as an individual player, but really the team as a whole?
I'd really like everybody to view us as a team as men of honor and men of integrity.
Yep.
One that they can look to both on the field, in the classroom, and off the field. As individuals that they can trust and approach comfortably and know that they're part of the College of Idaho football team and that they're men of honor and men of integrity.
Absolutely, I love it. Well, that's Graham Carnahan here, guys. Keep looking out for him. This guy flies around on defense as much as anybody on our team. So good luck this week and keep up the good work, man.
Thank you.
All right, fans, want to give you guys an update, as always, of what happened around the league this week. We'll start with Carroll against Northern. Carroll gets the win 27-6. They've won 3 games in a row. They're up to 5-3. In league and kind of in that third place position spot, so they're continuing to work on a good season right now. Montana Western got the win against Rocky Mountain 40-10, kind of took it to Rocky Mountain a little bit. They threw the ball over the yard, played well all day. Obviously that's who the Yotes played this week, so that's going to be a challenge. Tech went down to Ashland, Oregon on their senior day and got a win 28-14. Big win for Tech to stay in the playoff picture. I think they're sitting at number 17 in the country right now, so right on that bubble of getting into the playoffs. If they can get a couple more wins, I think they got a good shot to make it as the second Frontier team. And so the standings right now, nothing much has changed. C of I sits atop the league at 8-0, with Montana Tech and Montana Western coming in behind them at 6-2 apiece. Carroll is sitting at 5-3, like I said, in that kind of third place position. SOU at 3-5. We have Rocky and Eastern coming in at 2-6, with Northern at 0-8. So not much has changed in the league. The Yotes were able to lock up a share of the Frontier Conference title. We still got to take care of business the last couple weeks, but we're able to lock up a share of that, first time in program history, so that's exciting. But continue to tune in for the scores this coming week.